Good morning and welcome to our Business Success Series. I am delighted to welcome Mr. Eddie Stack from Insight6 is the name of your new business, Eddie. So delighted. Thanks a million for joining me today on the Business Success Series. This series gives me the opportunity to talk to some amazing business owners about their businesses, how they've grown it, what frustrations or concerns they may have about their business and how they're overcoming them. And this morning, I am delighted, as I said, to welcome Mr. Eddie Stack. So good morning, Eddie.
Good morning, Des, and thanks for having me along today.
Great to have you this morning. Great to have you. I know we've done a couple of one-to-one sessions recently, and it's a really exciting business that you're kicking off. So without further ado, let's get started. So tell us a little bit about your business and what inspired you to start doing what you're doing in the first place.
So first of all, I suppose I'll just say what inspired me first of all is that I always believe in the customer being number one. If we don't have customers or happy customers, we don't retain them. Our business is just going around and round in a circle. What inspired me to do this, I suppose, is one of my own little passions of I will always answer the phone or return a call. And it really frustrates me when people don't. So it was a case of thinking about how we can educate other businesses out there on basically giving customers or potential customers a good experience with us. So I went to UCD last year and did a diploma on customer behavior and customer experience, and then decided that I was going to start a business on this. However, through some contacts, I found that there was a franchise available for Ireland. So Insight6 is actually a franchise, and there are 25 of us customer experience directors across Ireland and the UK. I look after all the south of Ireland. We have another guy, David, up in the north. So that's how it got started. And look, it's all about educating businesses on how important their customers are and looking after their customers.
Super. Well, to be fair, if you look behind me on the shelf there's a book there called Crowning the Customer from Mr. Fergal Quinn, who I suppose was my first boss many, many years ago. And again, he, I suppose, led the whole customer service, customer experience agenda for many, many years. So absolutely love what you do, Eddie. Love it. So let's move on to the next question. And I suppose, what are the key strategies that you are using that have been most effective in, I suppose, kicking off your business most recently?
My key strategies in this are networking. I have been involved in networking, particularly with BNI for 16 years as a member and as a director in it. So I do, and other networks as well, but I do have a huge network of people out there. And I suppose it is about building trust with all of these. However, I suppose I'm only 6 months into this now, and a lot of them don't know what I do yet. So it is a case of taking time to go out there and educate everybody on what I do and how I can help their contacts, and hopefully then that through that network that they will be able to refer me on to businesses that they know that might need some help in this.
Yeah, you've mentioned BNI, and obviously you've had a big role in BNI in the last number of years. From a networking perspective, how do you feel you're going to get that message across to as many of these businesses as possible?
My only way of doing that is meeting people on a one-to-one basis in person. I know we're on a video here today, and that's fantastic for what we're doing here today. But if somebody wants a one-to-one with me, unless you're living on the other side of the world, expect to meet me for coffee somewhere, because I really only believe in actually sitting down with somebody, looking them in the eye, shaking their hand, and building a relationship. I find it hard to build relationships through Zoom or Teams or anything like that. Yeah.
So I think I probably only know a fraction of your network, but I can imagine lots of coffees in the future, Eddie, for you to have one-to-ones with all of your network, let me tell you.
Yes, as I suppose it's good that I do like coffee.
So let's move on to the next question. So how do you measure success, both personally and for your business? And how good are you at celebrating success? Your small wins every now and again.
Well, measuring it, we have so Insight6 has a portal. The portal is for almost everything we do, recording or measurements of other businesses. We've our tools in there for everything, but we do also have an account system in there that records every bit of business that we do, the profits that are involved in it, and so on. So it's quite easy for me to measure successes and look back over months, years, or whatever as the time goes on. Celebrating success. I love holidays. Simple as I love holidays. I've got a motorhome. We travel probably most weekends of the year somewhere around the country, but also travel abroad in it. We've been to Spain and the UK, and then we love to fly to the sun quite a few times a year. Yeah, most people that know me will know I like that.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is because often, as humans and as individuals, we tend to have a slightly negative bias, and we often focus on the challenges and the problems, but we never really give any time to focus and celebrate our wins, and capture our wins. Each coaching session I do with clients, it starts with, so tell me your wins. So tell me what you've done positively. And it's amazing how people struggle with that a little bit, because they, again, tend not to capture them. They tend not to take note of them. So celebrating those wins, even if they're small ones, is really, really important.
I think what happens to people is they get so wrapped up in the day-to-day running of their business that they forget that when they get a win, that they should just take some time out to sit back and look at how they got it in the first place. Because obviously if there was a success there, that's repeatable at some point for them. But then to actually take some time out and look at it and say, okay, there's an achievement.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next question that I've got for you. And it's around future trends. What future trends do you foresee in your industry? And how is your business preparing for these potential trends? So initially, like what trends do you think are going to be coming up?
Well, I suppose trends in our business, customer experience is all about what a customer perceives. And when we say what a customer perceives, that could be a potential customer. When they come onto your website, your social media, when they see the signs on the side of your van or whatever it is, that's your first interaction with a customer. Then maybe get to speak to them and so on. They're all fairly normal things, but the trends into the future are definitely going to be more, I think they're going to be more online. Everybody is searching online these days. I mean, look, we see the high streets in our towns and villages where shops are closing all the time because they can't keep up with the online sales of goods that are out there at the moment. So trends are definitely going to be aiming a little bit more towards online. It's going to be really important that while we call customer experience CX, you'll hear that term being used, we also do have the UX experience, the user experience of online social chat rooms. There are so many businesses out there that don't have a chatbot on their websites at the moment. And I mean, that's a trend that we are going to have to look at. And I know a lot of these have been run by AI. And while that's a trend that we're not going to push away from us, it is going to become huge in the future. At the same time, I do believe a lot of these chats need to be monitored by a person who, when somebody is looking for customer service, that person will have some empathy rather than just a chatbot that's been generated by AI that actually has no feelings. So these are things I think that in the future we're going to have to look at more closely.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one. As I said, Fergal Quinn would have been ahead of his time when it came to customer service and customer experience and how to measure it. And I suppose there's always been a mystery shopper option out there to measure. But I think what you've said rightly so is that it's the technology and it's the social media and it's the platforms and it's AI and it's all so much more technology driven. And I've seen some of the reports that you give and the action plans that come out of it. Like it's an amazing system that you've got access to. And I think that's the difference. I think it's using the technology that's there to streamline the whole process.
Look, we talk a lot. Sorry, we talk a lot in our business about omni-channel. So they're omni-channel. For anyone that doesn't know what it is, we've got everything from the telephone to our website, social media, to the chat rooms, to chat bots on websites. There, email. There are so many ways that somebody can contact a client, and I suppose one of the challenges that I've seen out there that I don't think customers are paying enough attention to is that they, for cost saving benefits to them, they are trying to remove some of these channels. Now, so take for example, imagine a 90-year-old going to renew their passport and they're told the only way they can do it is online. Now, at present, they can still go get their photograph taken in the pharmacy, take it to the guards, get it signed, bring it to the post office and apply for their platform. Imagine if that was taken away from 80, 90-year-old people that don't have smartphones or don't have the internet or don't know how to do these things and maybe don't have younger family that can do it for them.
Yeah.
So I think one of the challenges for companies out there is, while I know they need to cut costs and cut back on maybe some of these channels that are costing them a lot more money, they do still need to think about all the different customers they have.
Yeah, no, I would agree. There's always a call for it, as you say, reduce it back rather than cut it out altogether.
Yeah.
So that kind of moves into my next question that I've got, and it's in relation to, I suppose, the hot button issues or the problems, frustrations, concerns, and fears that you're coming across with your potential customers, your customers rather than the end user, I suppose. And how are you able to overcome these issues with the solution that you offer?
I think, I suppose the biggest one that comes to mind here are staff problems. So churn in staff. Companies are having a huge problem with staff churn at the moment, as I'm sure everyone is aware of out there. You get somebody in, you train them up for 6 months, 12 months, and the next thing is they're moving on to the next company, and you have to start all over again. There's obviously a huge cost in all that. So we need to figure out ways in businesses on how to keep the staff, first of all, and then keep them happy, because happy staff, happy customers. If your staff aren't happy in their job, that's certainly going to come across to the customer. So what do we do for that? In our case, what we do is, and we're working with a couple of clients on this at the moment, is we have a survey platform called Instant Insight, and instant, as it says, it is instant, all the feedback. And we are doing some staff surveys on that for clients, because we can find out how the staff feel. We can find out if they're thinking of leaving, if they're unhappy. And we do ask for feedback in how can we help you to do your job better? What tools do you need to do your job better? And if we listen to those staff and we listen to the voice of the employee, then they feel that they're contributing to the business. And statistics on certain websites you will see is that if we use the voice of the employee, listen to them, implement some of the things that they would like implemented in the workplace, that it does give better retention of staff and buy-in into the business itself. They feel that well, I have a say in this. I know last week I was at a conference there and there was a lot of talk about employee-owned businesses. And I don't think there's too many in Ireland. I'm not even sure who is here, but I know in the UK it's huge at the moment, where all the employees have a certain share in the business. That gets a buy-in. Then every time they're dealing with a customer, they feel like they're dealing with it for themselves rather than just for the boss who's sitting in an office somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think it's that whole kind of profit share. If there's a share of profit available for everyone, then everyone will work towards generating that little bit of extra profit in the business.
Yeah.
But I love that you started off with the team, because I know it would have been so easy there to talk about, the benefit in relation to the customer experience and, the customer expectations and the customer journey. But let's be fair about it. That all starts with the team. You know, if your team are happy, if your team are engaged, if your team are aligned with the way the business wants to go and the expectations, if you keep them in the loop, you keep them involved, as you said, and you communicate properly, then your customer experience is automatically going to be much better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Look, we're working with one client at the moment who there's a poor culture within the staff in the business, and what we're doing with them at the moment is we're implementing a customer experience strategy into the business. And rather than have the HR managers or operations managers in the business go to the staff and say, look, we need you to do this. We want you to do this. You have to do this. You have to be nicer to the customers. We are working on a strategy. We're presenting it, first of all, to all middle management and supervisors, asking them for buy-in. When we get the buy-in from them, we're going to ask them to take it to their staff to get the buy-in. So it's about changing culture rather than just throwing orders at them. And at least that way you have a better chance of getting the culture changed.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Yeah, no, it's huge. And when you look at the numbers and the huge discrepancy between someone who's highly engaged, who is someone who goes the extra mile, and someone who shows real kind of customer service focus, and someone who is disengaged, and then you've got people who are highly disengaged, and the cost to a business when your team are not engaged is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So in relation then to the customer side of it, so the customer service, when we talk about the hot button issues, the frustrations that your actual customers have rather than their teams, what are their biggest concerns right now?
Well, their biggest concerns, I think, are, and again, it goes back to team, but their biggest concerns are getting bad reviews online. And I mean, any business, it was a case, I suppose, maybe at the start, that small businesses got reviews, but particularly, let's say, in the hospitality industry, like restaurants, hotels, the reviews are huge for them. But any business now, if you get a bad review, I mean, I'm sure you've met somebody who's said to you, oh, I've got a bad review on Google Reviews, and they get so frustrated and so angry with it even. And then I think the biggest problem with them all out there is at the moment is that they're not actually addressing these properly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Google Reviews, obviously, as part of my role to review businesses when I'm going to speak to them, and we look down through the Google Reviews, and so many of them where management or whoever is dealing with the complaints online on reviews are just doing copy and paste. They're just like, if somebody complains about the food in a restaurant or staying in a hotel or services from an accountant or a law firm or anything, if they complain about anything, somebody is there and they're copy and pasting an answer. We're sorry you didn't have a good experience. We'll notify the relevant department. And then you look at the next bad one, and it's exactly the same answer, word for word. And that's not how you deal with customers.
Yeah. But it's interesting that there's the old saying, of course, that your most unhappy customer is your greatest source of information.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you can gather that information, and as your software does, put that into an action plan to actually resolve it, then you can learn from every negative experience and turn it into a positive.
Yeah. And if we can turn negative customers into positive ones, then we have a huge following out there. Because if we've got somebody that will go to their friends and say, oh, I was in a restaurant last night and we had a really bad meal there, that's obviously negative. But if the management can turn that around and give them another free meal, and while that can be expensive enough, it's so important to be able to do something like that. Give them another free meal, give them a free bottle of wine, just make the bad situation right. That person will go out there and tell everybody.
Yeah.
How it was turned around.
I think you're right. And I think the way I look at that is that the opposite of a great review isn't necessarily a bad review. It's no review.
Mm-hmm.
Because if at least if you get a bad review, you can do something about it, and you can go back to the customer and you can, offer them something, or you can talk them through their concerns. It's where they don't let you know what's happened, and then they go off and tell all their friends. So suddenly that negative feeling grows, and you know nothing about it.
Mm. And I think what a lot of businesses don't think about either is the ones in the middle. So we see all the good 4 or 5 star reviews going up. We see all the bad 1 and 2 star reviews going up. We don't see the ones in the middle. So you can have thousands of customers in a year. Only a small section of those are going to put up a review, because the ones in the middle are usually wasn't great, but sure, look, I'm not saying anything. They're a big problem to our business.
Yeah.
If we don't get feedback from them as to what can we do better to make, like if you do give me a 3-star review and say, yeah, look, it was all right, the meal was all right, and the staff were only okay, and so on. At least if I know that, I can do something about it.
Yeah, I agree. And like having someone who is okay or having an okay experience is as damaging as having a bad experience, because
it is, yeah.
it's really not the result that you want or the outcome that you're looking for from any of your team.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next question, which again, it's around innovation. So obviously your system and your technology your platform that you brought into is very innovative. So tell me what role that plays in your business, and how do you foster that? Obviously you're on your own, so you don't have a huge team, but obviously what role does that innovation play in your business right now?
I suppose we have quite a few things, but one main one is that, so we run mystery shopping programs for businesses. Our mystery shopping program is run through a portal online. Our reports are very comprehensive, obviously agreed with the client every time. So we do have a template which we then tweak up to whatever business it might be. A template for every type of business out there, everything. We tweak those up, but I suppose the comprehensive report for, let's just say, if we were doing a phone mystery shop on a law firm or an accountancy firm, is about 8, 9, 10 pages long. But again, using AI and different tools within our portal, the one exciting thing we have to offer on that is that every time one of these reports is generated by a mystery shopper and they submit it online, it automatically creates an action plan. So we get a 2 or 3 page action plan from that report. Basically, it takes every negative point in the report. So the phone wasn't answered or whatever. We then have an action plan to follow up on each one of those. And that's really important then for the business. They get to see very, very quickly, get to see what they have to follow up on. And again, I suppose with us, we are, as far as we're aware, across Ireland and the UK, we are the largest and only full services customer experience specialists. And when I say full services, what that means is that not only do we just send you the report, but we will, me in particular, I will go to you with the reports. I will sit down, go through them with you. And if you feel you need outside help to go through changing some of the culture within the business, we can offer all the training, mentoring, and different things in that as well. So,
but I think that just again goes back to the power of your network, that you've got all of those services, outsourced services available, whether it's sales training or whether it is, a better website or, a better, whatever it is, you can provide that through your network.
And I think people should understand that too, is that I am a customer experience specialist. So what I do is I go in and I find out the pain points that the customers or potential customers have in a business. But while we're doing that, we often dig a bit deeper into the business and we find certain things like, they've got financial problems or they've got sales problems, as you've said, or whatever. I then have a huge network of people that I am very confident to refer into those businesses, because again, long relationships with a lot of these people like yourself that I'm happy then to refer in. So my customer then is even more confident to deal with me, because not only can I help them with what I do, but I can now help them with several other things in their business.
But I think one of the things, just going back to the innovation side of it, and again, as I said, we've had a one-to-one, and I've seen some of the stuff that you do, but even the introduction of QR codes for the staff or the team in different languages, which takes them straight away to either anonymous feedback pages, or you can leave your details. Putting QR codes into hotel bedrooms so people can give instant feedback. Tell us about that, and tell us the impact that's having on the service customer experience.
I suppose the Instant Insight is the platform we use for all this, and it is just a survey software. When I say just a survey software, I often call it like a survey software on speed. It does so many things. So we do simple things like in a restaurant or a hotel, somebody goes to check out in a hotel. There's an NFC table talker on the counter. The staff will just say, look, thanks so much for staying with us. Can you tap your phone off that? Leave us some feedback. So you get the usual. And we've got the mood faces there, the orange face, green face, red face, and so on. So many different NPS scores, and there's so many different ways we can do it. However, then we can also put QR codes, as you said, in the bedrooms of hotels. You put a little QR code sticker on the corner of the desk there. They can scan that and leave feedback at any time. Instant feedback. Instant in that if they find a problem, they can scan this. It goes straight to reception. Reception can call housekeeping or whatever and have it dealt with within minutes. Imagine a client staying in a hotel and they find there's a problem. Let's just say, for example, there's no loo roll in the loo, right? Which is very unlikely to happen, but let's just say there's not. And they scan this QR code and they just put in no toilet paper in the toilets here. Reception can call housekeeping, and within 5 minutes, it's in the room. Imagine how the client is going to feel about that. Okay, there was a problem, but look how they fixed it. How simple it was to get it fixed. So that's really, look, and we can do it for several other things, but that's some of the ideas we use on it.
Brilliant. Mm-hmm. And again, that's great innovation, and again, it just speeds up that whole interaction and absolutely improves the customer experience.
Yeah.
So my final question for you is really going to be around, what advice would you give to someone who is looking to start their own business today?
I suppose that in my time in BNI, I've often talked in training sessions about how easy it is to start a business in Ireland in particular, right? And I often use it. You can be an amazing electrician or plumber or anything at all, an accountant, anything, it doesn't matter. You could be the best in your field. And you fall out with your boss on a Friday afternoon and you say, to hell with this, I'm going to start my own business. And you set up your business, you get on to CRO Monday morning, you get on to revenue, and by lunchtime you're self-employed. You might be the best electrician or plumber or whatever. It doesn't matter what profession it is. Do you know how to run a business? Yeah. Do you know what cash flow is? Do you know how to balance a set of books? Do you know how to source your stock at the right price and maybe get some credit terms on it, or so that it's like there is everyone that's in business long enough knows all this now. But you don't just start a business on the Monday morning and say, whoa, this is going to be fantastic. I'm self-employed. This is amazing. So advice on starting a business. First of all, you need to use is a term, I suppose, that we probably shouldn't use, but you need to certainly use your contacts, anybody that you know. If you know somebody that is in business a long time, go and speak to them. Get some advice from them. Make sure you have a good accountant. Make sure that you have budgets in place to be able to hire people like yourself or people like myself or whoever that are going to help you with sales or help you with finances. Or don't think that you can just be this amazing person on a Friday and be self-employed on Monday and by next Friday I'll have enough money in the bank to pay the mortgage. I'm afraid that's not how it works. There's a little bit more to it than that. Anyone that starts up is usually probably looking at a good 6 months or possibly even more before they start making a profit. So you need to totally understand how it all works first. If you are thinking of going self-employed, you've got fantastic organizations like Leo and everything out there that give grants and mentors and all sorts. So get out there and find the appropriate help that you might need. And then after that, you just need tenacity. You need to be able to stick with it and just not put your head in the sand on a Friday afternoon thinking, "Whoa, I've no wages again this week." Yeah.
Super answer. Really, really love that answer. And I think that the interesting stat is that 80% of businesses, startup businesses, will fail in the first 5 years. And if you're saying that it's taken you 6 months to 12 months to start making money, you can see why. But that's almost identical to the advice that I would give people is don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to employ people outside of your business to give you a bit of advice. And the last bit of advice I would give is stay close to your numbers. The closer you are to your figures and your numbers, the better decisions you're going to make. So, Eddie, that was amazing. Really enjoyed that interview. Thanks a million for your time. I know you weren't feeling 100% this morning, so I do appreciate you going ahead with the interview. So look, Eddie Stack from Insight6 is the name of the company, the business. I'll post his details along with the podcast and wherever it will end up. And thanks a million for joining us today.
Thanks, Des. Pleasure.